So I was watching the interview on Club Shay with Gillie, and he was asking his opinion about the Terrence Crawford Canelo fight. And of course, Gillie came up with his opinion of why he think, Canelo would beat Crawford. So naturally, he's going with Canelo. And it really just dawned upon me. It actually dawned upon me when I watched Gervonta Tank Davis interview. First of all, let me say this. Gillie don't know shit about boxing. We have entered this space where you can say people from the hip hop community, they think it's cool to talk about boxing while not knowing truly shit about the sport. And you can tell by the way they interview these people and the things that they say. And I say that to say this, because I was watching Gervonta Davis interview with the young man, and watching it, I said to myself, no wonder why boxers have such a hard time promoting themselves. Have you noticed the majority of the time that these boxers do interviews, they do interviews with people who hardly know shit about their sport? Have y'all noticed that? Like when they do get on platforms, they get on platforms with people who barely know anything about their sport, but like to pretend like they know. See, we enter this era where it seems cool to act like you know something about boxing. But the reason why you don't listen to people like Gillie, and the reason you don't listen to people like Nelly and all those other people, because when it comes to boxing, they only have an opinion about the spectacle fights, meaning the commercial fights. You don't have their opinions when it comes to Benavidez, David Morale. You don't see those type of conversations. You can get them to speak on the Terrence Crawford versus Errol Spence, but you can't get them to speak on the fights that really mean something to us as a boxing fan. Those are important too, meaning if the fight is not over commercialized, they don't talk about it. They don't talk about it at all. But I'm sick of people who do talk about it. I'm finding it's always people who really don't know shit about the sport. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at all the people who popped up and had an opinion about Fury versus Wilder and stuff like that. Some people only popped up to have an opinion about that. Did you see them talk about boxing again? You know what I'm saying? Like, we got some hardcore, like, casuals in the sport. But when it comes to people like Gillie, it pisses me off because, in my opinion, the hip hop community wants to act like it's down with boxing, but they show their ignorance every time they interview these boxers. You can tell they don't know what the fuck going on. Like, I was watching Gervonta Tank Davis interview, right? And Tank Davis was asking the dude, because the dude was pressing him. He was like, man, this fight ain't for the fans and stuff like this. I'm like, all right, you know what I'm saying? We got somebody in there who, who's just like us. He know this fight ain't for the fans. But when Gervonta Davis asked him, who do he think that he should fight? And that interviewer opened his mouth and shot down people like Shakur Stevenson, but suggested he fight people like Teofimo Lopez. You could tell people like this, they're out of the loop. They want to be in the loop. They want to pretend like they know what's going on. They want to pretend like they know boxing, but then they'll turn around and say shit like, yeah, we want to see you fight Teofimo Lopez. Don't nobody want to see that shit. Nobody is interested in him. Not only top of that, you would know that culturally, we not fucking with T.O. That's the biggest, dumbest mistake. That's just like when Cameron got up there interviewing Teofimo Lopez and he didn't know shit about his racist rants and sat up there and laughed with him. Once again, from the hip hop community. You know what I'm saying? If y'all gonna be this ill-informed about the sport, I prefer that y'all shut the fuck up talking about the sport, because it's not hard to tell as a real boxing fan, y'all really don't know shit. Stop talking about boxing just to seem like you cool or you know something about combat sports because you want a little bit of prop for being recognized for, I don't know, acting like you care about the martial arts and boxing skill when you don't, because the shit that y'all say don't make no sense. Now, Gillie was also the one to set up here and believe that Errol Spence would beat Terrence Crawford. Now, I'm not knocking people for being a Terrence Crawford fan, but at the same time, if you was a boxing fan and not fan of man, it was not hard to tell that Terrence Bud Crawford beats the shit out of Errol Spence. The only people who thought that was people who was caught up in fandom. But people who could really look at the sweet science, it was clear as day he beats the shit out of him. This wasn't hard to figure out. It was only hard to figure out with man fans and knee pad wearers. But for people who know the game, that wasn't hard to see. And this fool was one of the main culprits, saying that, oh, Errol Spence is going to beat the shit out of Terrence Bud Crawford. Just like Charlamagne the God. Charlamagne the God believed that Errol Spence was going to beat the shit out of Terrence Crawford, which leads me to another conclusion. It seems when you coming from the hip-hop world, they anti-Bud. You notice that? These dudes is anti-Bud, and they anti-Bud because they're straight surface casuals. They like liking who they think they're supposed to like. You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to favor Errol Spence over Terrence Bud Crawford. That's the thing to do. Only people really cared about the sport was Holler and Crawford. The rest was just on some fandom shit. Let's just be straight up. You know what I'm saying? People like him pick the popular opinion. He doesn't know how to stand independently. He picked Errol Spence over Crawford because he was trying to go with the popular opinion. He's doing the Crawford Canelo thing, going with Canelo because he's trying to go with the popular opinion. Yes, he could talk about the history of the sport and whatever and whatnot. You could do that. But we are not dealing with an ordinary situation when it comes to Terrence Bud Crawford. Okay? Talented people, special people, are exceptions to the rules. We wouldn't even entertain a fight like this if Crawford wasn't as special as he was. This is the only thing that makes it competitive. Crawford's what make this shit compelling. It's not what Canelo can do. Crawford is so talented that we're saying that talent can go up several weight classes and beat somebody like Canelo. That's the testament to how great we look at Crawford, because truthfully, it's not supposed to be. But I have to say, every time I get on the internet and I look at these interviews, and I'm happy to see boxing being talked about in certain pockets of media, but the people who do talk about it be people who don't know shit about the fucking sport. But they figure since they got a name and since they got a clout, you know what I'm saying, they can swing their opinion in and it's supposed to mean something. It's not. I'm sick of people faking the funk like they watch fucking boxing. You don't. It ain't nothing wrong with being a casual, but at the same time, stop sitting in front of these fucking cameras like you a fucking veteran. Like you, people who watch boxing, people are always who watch boxing. Now, I can understand if somebody want to get the opinion of Rosie Perez. I can understand that. I've seen her at countless boxing matches. I know she knows the game. I wouldn't be mad if somebody asked Mario Lopez his opinion. You want to know why? Because it's always been known that he likes boxing. It's always been known that he watches the sport. It's kind of like asking, did Jack Nicholson attend any basketball games? You know what I'm saying? I'm going to talk to the person who shows that this is their hobby and this is what they like. You know what I'm saying? Jack Nicholson has shown he like his hoops. Rosie Perez has shown that she like her boxing. Why do we keep going to people that we don't hear shit about telling some commercially big fucking fight? Now all of a sudden they got an opinion. You know what I'm saying? But you couldn't get their opinion on Errol Spence versus Sean Porter. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't get no opinions on that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just sick of people talking about this sport who don't know shit about this sport because they look stupid at the end of the day. And I had to make the correlation between hip hop seems to act like they want to know about the sport, but yet go against the very guys who represent the sport the fucking best to represent who they think got the most clout or who is cool to like. I'm just saying I'm sick of that shit. Between this shit right here and the interview Gervonta Tank Davis did and the shit that he suggested at the end of the day, I'm like, these people don't know what the fuck. Why drag these people on your platform if you really don't fucking know the fucking sport? Why do you want to pretend like you know? That's the shit that's fucking me up. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, 9 times out of 10, Cameron, Nelly, all these motherfuckers, they don't know shit about boxing. So why the fuck do we even listen to their ass or even fucking pay attention to them?